Hello, precious alien baby goddess. Hello, good morning from Sedona, Arizona. Woo, yeah. Okay, it's been a while since I've vlogged. Let me tell you what we're going to be doing today. So in this video, I want to have a little conversation with you, a little talk. I feel like I'm almost at 550,000 subscribers, a lot of us here. It's over 500,000 people, but I don't really often, though I share my life, I haven't really talked about like my past or anything like that. So I went on Twitter and I asked you guys if there are some personal questions you'd like me to answer, and I picked a few, and I'm gonna answer them in this vlog. I also have kind of some news that I want to share with you, and we're gonna do that here. We're gonna go drop Juju off at daycare. You guys, Jupiter is a star at daycare. They're obsessed with him there. They love them. They literally are the sweetest staff ever. I'm so grateful for them because being around so many people and around so many dogs Monday through Friday, Jupiter, his personality has developed. He's so sweet. He's such a good boy. My baby. He's waiting to go right now to daycare. I'm so grateful to have this here. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I go back to LA and I don't have it. Because I do work a lot and he's still a puppy and he gets into trouble, and I just want him to be super stimulated and having fun all day long, you know? Then I have a training session, and then we're gonna go to one of my favorite cafes. I'm trying to decide if I wanna go to Indian Hills, which is across the street from the Stream. I love it there, and they have really good matcha. Such a good vibe over there. I haven't worked there though. Or if I want to go to Chocolatry and get the Sedona Vortex enchilada because I'm hungry and I don't really have any food here. I'm leaving to LA in a couple of days. We're gonna cook some dinner later. We'll cook together. I gotta pick up some groceries, and then we're gonna talk. We're gonna do our little chat. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. If you want to hang out with me, I'd really appreciate it. I love you. Let's go. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, Audible. If you can't tell, I like books. I'm a book kind of girl. I like physical books, I like books on my Kindle, and I have to always have a great listen on Audible. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment all in one place. It's the place you can go to for memoirs, for new releases, for spirituality books, for fiction, for nonfiction, for everything. They even have storytelling for before bed. They have meditation tracks, they have workout programs. It's a one-stop shop. You might know by now that I've been an Audible member for years, and as an Audible member, each month I get credit that's good for any title in their premium selection, and I also have access to their Audible originals, which are really entertaining and informative. I listen to Audible while I go on my walk in the morning and in the evening. I listen while I do dishes and clean the house. It takes me so long to clean the house, so I really like to be listening to something and improving myself while I do that. I usually listen to self-development, spirituality books, books on mysticism. I like history books. Right now I'm re-listening to Big Magic. It's one of my favorites by Elizabeth Gilbert. I highly recommend this listen. Her sweet voice, it just feels like nourishment to the soul, and there's such cool concepts here. She talks about ideas as like these sentient beings. This was the first time I was ever exposed to this idea back in 2019, and it changed my life. So I'm re-listening to it right now as I write my book, just to get some, you know, creative inspiration. If you haven't checked out Audible yet, you can get your first audiobook for free on me and on Audible by going to audible.com/Leeor or texting Leeor to 500-500. You're going to get a free 30-day trial, and you're going to even keep the book if you don't want to keep your membership. So give yourself the gift of listening by going to audible.com/Leeor or texting Leeor to 500-500. I recommend Big Magic. The other things, I have such a big library on Audible. I have 93 titles. That's a lot of books. You know what's a really good one that I know that my audience specifically is going to love because you get me? Food of the Gods by Terence McKenna. And I remember listening to this and just savoring all the beautiful information. It's historical, it's about psychedelics, it's about mysticism and spirituality, and it's just so nice to listen to. You know, one thing that I listen overnight all the time is one of my favorite ones is The Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. I like to listen to that while I fall asleep. So Get any of these books for free if you haven't become an Audible member yet at audible.com/Leeor. Text Leeor to 500-500. Thank you, Audible, for sponsoring this video. I appreciate you guys. They've also been very, very kind to let me know that I can take a break when I need to, and I really appreciate that. Anybody wants some whoa, I look so shiny. Some Jupiter updates. We are obsessed with each other. Okay, baby, that's a lot of face licking. Quercetin made me not allergic to him, which is amazing if you're allergic to your dog or your cats, or if your immune system needs some help. Quercetin. I don't know if I say that right, but it saved my life. And I can cuddle him all day and all night now. Oh yeah, is this your home that you're protecting now? Come on, little rock star. Come on, little rock star. I started going to these 30-minute workouts here in West Sedona. The Sedona in this area is, I would say, I don't know the actual statistics, but I would say that primarily it's retired people that live here now, and they are so healthy and they are so fit and they're working out and they're gardening and they're doing everything on their own. Some of the women that I work out with, they'll do a double session, which, you know, it's an hour, but they'll walk here a few miles and then they'll go hike, and they're just so active. It's so cool to see that you can still have a really meaningful and fulfilling life late into your life. Do the things that you love. These people have so many hobbies and so many interests, and they're always doing things that they love. So I just do this 30-minute workout just to get my heart rate up, to socialize a little bit. I don't really hang out with anybody over here that much. I ran into my friend. It's so funny. The other day, so there was this on Twitter, there was this guy. He didn't have a profile picture. He didn't have any picture of himself at all anywhere, but he started like tweeting at me. But for some reason I felt called to talk to him, and I followed him back, and we were talking, and he was telling me how he lives in Sedona and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's grab coffee when I'm there. And I'm sure he was, I wasn't thinking at the time that he's probably surprised, you know, that I would just follow back a random account with no profile picture. And maybe that's not the most safe thing to do, but I always follow my intuition, right? And my intuition was telling me to connect with this person. So the other day I was thinking about him. He owns a hotel around here, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I could somehow, when I do my retreats, if we need more space, maybe we can use his hotel. I can give him my business instead of a random person. So I was going on Twitter and I wanted to reach out to him, but he had deleted his account. So this was Sunday when I was looking for him, and I was like, I'm gonna run into him in Sedona. And we've never met before. I don't know what he looks like or anything like that, but I set my intention. And then Monday I went to go get an acai bowl at local juicery, and I hear somebody say my name. And it's not that uncommon over here. A lot of people from our community notice me here in Sedona. So, you know, I turned around expecting it to be a subscriber, and it was like this tall man with piercing blue eyes, and I was like, oh, it's him. Like, hey, I've been looking for you. And he was so thrown off because I had no way of knowing what he would look like. He's not online. He has no trail to see like what he looks like, but I knew it was him. It's intuition, right? And we had coffee together. He had his juice with me, and we just talked for an hour or so, and we just had so much in common. He's so cool. I'm so grateful to finally have a friend here, but now I'm jetting off for some travels and leaving. We'll talk about all of that. Anyways, so yeah, I followed my intuition, and I followed a random tiny little account. Not that I recommend doing that. Also, if I had actually planned to meet him, I would have planned to meet in a public space where it's safe, because I don't know who he is, right? But he ended up being such a lovely person. He's an Aries and Sagittarius, you know, could talk for hours. I'm gonna go work out, and I'll check in with you in 30. It was so fun. I'm starving. Let's go eat. I'm having immediate buyer's remorse. Everybody's drinking a smoothie, and smoothies are looking so good. But I got an acai bowl, or a pitaya bowl, and I got a beetroot juice. Oh, by the way, I ended up going to local juicery because I didn't realize Chocolate Tree doesn't open till 11 a.m. Really loud here, so we can't really chat, but what I'm going to be doing is just having my breakfast, and I'm going to be working on prep for a ceremony I'm hosting tomorrow morning. I already have it all prepped out, but I like to really go over and immerse myself and kind of sit with the content that I'm going to be sharing before I do, be very familiar with it, so that, you know, maybe new ideas can flow in, or maybe new perspectives. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. Look at this loaded bowl. I'm starving, ravenous. I don't know why, that acai bowl was pretty filling, but I'm so hungry, so I'm gonna get changed and we're gonna make some lunch. Showered, I'm in my cooking lemon robe. If you know, you know. I'm gonna whip up a very easy, simple lunch. I have this basically every day or every other day. It's just a spice blend here, this whatever I'm feeling. I just mix up a bunch of stuff. There's like garlic, onion, salt, paprika, chili peppers. I just put it together there. Then we have shiitake mushrooms, zucchini, and some tofu. To top it, I'm gonna top it with this mango pineapple salsa from Whole Foods. I love it. I'm on a mission to make my kitchen as non-toxic as possible. And it really is a process, because it's so crazy how many things we get that are just leaking chemicals. And I'm not insane about this. I'm just making choices little by little in my cooking supplies, in my cleaning supplies, and in my utensils. I'm trying to do my best to use up what I've had in the past and to get better things, right? So that's replacing any plastic with wood and with utensils that don't leak chemicals. I'm working on it. One of the things I recently did is I got this beautiful new non-toxic, it's a game changer, this non-toxic cookware set from Caraway. It's also so beautiful. Look at them. How aesthetically pleasing is that? I have to hang these, but look how beautiful the tops are. So Caraway is 100% non-toxic ceramic cookware. And I like it because not only is it non-toxic, which is huge and it's beautiful, you can cook lower temperatures and you need much less oil or butter or whatever you're using in order to cook. So if you're cooking lower temperatures, then you're retaining more nutrients in the food. Which reminds me, I'm gonna throw some spinach on there also. What you do is you just heat it up for like 30 seconds before putting a little bit of oil on there. I'm gonna do medium low heat, and then I'm gonna use some extra virgin olive oil. I'm only gonna use like a tablespoon, maybe less. Olive oil is good for you, okay? We like olive oil. With other traditional non-stick cookware, the non-stick technology is very harmful, full of toxins. Also, you need to use a higher heat in order to get the same kind of cooking. I'm obsessed with this cookware set. I'm going to get my best friend who just got engaged. I told you guys about her in a past vlog and new moon reading or full moon reading. So she got engaged, and one of the things I want to get her for her engagement, I think for her bridal shower or something, I love Caraway so much that I became an ambassador. So I got you guys a discount. If you want to get your own set, invest. If you're spending money on clean, high quality foods, on organic foods, but still cooking with things that are seeping chemicals into your food, what's the point then, right? I mean, we do our best, right? We do as best as we can, and it took me a while to switch my cookware. I'm now looking for the best and healthiest eating utensils. So I'm doing research on that. What metal is best for us to be using every single day. I'll keep you guys updated on my search for that. For now, if you want to invest in your health and in your cooking, there's a link down below that will give you 10% off automatically site-wide if you want to use that. This is the super quick lunch I make almost every day. It's just tofu, shiitake mushrooms, zucchini, spinach. I made some guacamole. Then we have that pineapple mango salsa. These are siete grain-free taco shells. It's my favorite, and it's like so much food, but it's so healthy and so filling. Okay, so get this. Caraway didn't tell me what to say for an integration. I don't need to talk about them. I don't need to post about them or anything. They just said, you know, if you want to, you can. Here's a discount code for your subscribers, okay? But they also shared some talking points, and I looked through them, and I remember seeing that it said food will taste better. And I wasn't gonna make that claim if I hadn't noticed it. I made this right now. It is so interesting. I don't know why it is, but I taste the olive oil, the richness of the olive oil more. Like the olive oil taste is still there, whereas I feel like with my past cookware sets, it just kind of, you know, because the temperature, just the taste, the flavor changed. I taste the vegetables more, and the tofu texture came out like fluffier. I didn't expect it to actually change the way that food tastes. I was only in it for the non-toxic aspect, but this is life-changing. I'm gonna buy this for everybody. This is a great gift. You gotta have a perfect balance of everything for each bite. So we have the guacamole, we have a little salsa, and then you top it off with a little pickled jalapeno. This is gonna be such an attractive bite. So I normally don't go on TikTok. In fact, I didn't even have the app. I used to make a few videos on there, but I deleted it because I'm just... For as long as I can, I'm trying to stave off the inevitable sinking of long-form content into 60-second or less clips. I'm trying my best, right? Trying to keep my attention, my focus strong, right? And I'm trying to create strong content and meaningful content and put my soul out there. And I haven't connected with TikTok and with all that. I've tried it, but I haven't connected with it because how can I bear my soul in 60 seconds? This is my living room. We never really sit over here, but there's a thunderstorm, so the whole house is kind of dark right now. And there's a lot of light coming in. Look how beautiful my view is, other than So I just spent about an hour on TikTok because I saw on Twitter that Gabby Hanna was trending. And I went and looked at it because, you know, sometimes I still like to check in with pop culture and things that are happening. I do it much less these days. I don't really watch, other than I still watch the H3 podcast. And now I've been watching some comedians like Bobby Lee, and I think his name is Theo Vaughn. I don't know why, Tim Dillon. I ended up in a little bit of a comedian wormhole here on YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm always gonna watch YouTube. That's how can I create videos for a platform that I don't enjoy myself? I feel like that's disingenuous for me personally. So Gabby Hanna was going through a psychotic break, and I got very emotionally invested in what was happening because one of my biggest fears in life is to have a psychotic break. And I've spoken about that intermittently in my videos. I don't know where this fear comes from. One time when I did a plant medicine ceremony, I had a vision of myself as a witch being burnt at the stake. And I kind of felt like my fear of going crazy had something to do with a past life in which I was that. And we've all been different things in our lives, so I don't think that's that out of the realm of possibility. But not only do I have a fascination with going crazy and losing your mind and schizophrenia, because I have this really visceral fear of going crazy myself. I've always, like, whenever I see people on the streets who are, you know, homeless because of their mental health or because of drugs, and they're talking to themselves and stuff, I always like slow down and I take some time to listen to what they're saying and to observe them. And I've always asked myself, well, what's the difference between me and this person? What choices led this person to where they're living and where they're existing, and me to my life? What small reality branch did they take? What split of reality did they take that led them to where they are? And how many of those splits have we avoided? All right, this video is supposed to be me introducing myself, and I'm on a tangent already. Whatever, I'm gonna be talking for a bit right now. I'm very psychic, I'm very intuitive. I have a really popped open third eye. And realize that I'm telling you this because it's a fact. It doesn't make me better in any way. I'm not qualifying myself in any way by this. My third eye has been open since I was a kid, then it was closed due to certain circumstances in my life, and then it was popped open by ayahuasca quite forcibly, not in a fun way, and it just is what it is. So a person with a really popped open third eye, and I know that a lot of you are out there, some of the things that they might experience have a lot of parallels and similarities with people who have had a psychotic break and who have lost their minds, right? And in one of my plant medicine ceremonies, I also saw that shamans can go inside of your mind and bring you out of that psychosis. They've done it for me before. And I felt that, you know, maybe we need some shamans in LA walking around the streets and bringing them back from the shadow realm, from inside of themselves. But yeah, so having a popped open third eye, I see patterns. I see synchronicities. A lot of you resonate with that. You resonate with my videos because I bring a connection to the forefront of your mind that clicks like that. And you're like, oh, right, I wanted to put words to that, but I couldn't find the words to that. So it's like, it's a very specific way of looking at life. And there's a lot of parallels with psychosis. So I've always had this fear of like, am I this or am I that? And I've just, you know, having existential OCD also makes you obsess over that. And I've just had to come to terms with the fact that I just don't have the answer for that. All I know is that I'm living my life to the best of my ability. I'm guiding others to the best of my ability. I have very pure intentions. My intentions always go back to goodness and to love and to God. It's always God. I have this very strong connection with the divine. So just seeing her, so I downloaded TikTok and I was going through her videos, and it's really still with me right now because so much of a lot of the things that she says is clearly to me. Some people were getting upset because I guess she said some things about people of color and trans people, and they were just saying that we need to hold her accountable for those things. And that it couldn't be further from the truth. We have to recognize that just because somebody says something during a psychotic break does not mean that's how they feel. So society gives us a lot of rules, right? And it makes things that we're not allowed to think, that we shouldn't think, that's wrong to think, really wrong to think, right? Like racism is wrong, right? Hating others for certain specific things, it's not morally right. But when we make something that we're not allowed to think, what we're doing is we're repressing it. We're creating a shadow inside of ourselves. Now, mania or psychosis breaks the mind, and all those little shadows, all those taboo things, even things as horrific as, I'm not even going to say them because I'll get flagged here on YouTube, but you can think just the worst taboo things that you've repressed in your mind, not because you believe those things and not because you want those things, but because they are so dark that you're telling yourself, I can't even think about that. I can't even think about the concept. And so you push these things deep into your shadow world. That doesn't mean that you want these things, that you believe these things. Hold her accountable as much as you want when she's lucid and when she's tapped in and she's conscious, but she's not there right now. And it just upset me to see the lack of empathy and compassion that we've started to have as a society for one another. And the pseudo compassion and empathy that people have begun to require of others, a fake compassion, a fake empathy. And it's just painful to see it. I don't want to depress anybody because ultimately I'm not depressed. I'm hopeful. In my real life, off of social media, my interactions with people are so beautiful and kind and compassionate, and I see so much love in the physical outer world that I have to just believe that this distant, cold, and clinical world that we're creating online isn't a reflection of reality. If anything, it's a shadow world. It's a mirror world where everything is upside down and nothing is what it seems. And so what we do about that, wow, this has gotten way different than what I wanted to talk about. What we do about that is we turn it off. We get off social media. We get off TikTok. Get off of TikTok. We turn our phones off. We look people in the eyes and we have conversations with our neighbors and with our friends and our families and our lovers. And we spend time being present with our kids, our brothers and our sisters and our grandparents and our pets. And we do good and we be good. We act in accordance with our heart. And I know that most of us, the majority of people, are innately good. What we see online is a warped version of this planet. It's not real. Hi. My name is Leeor Alexandra. I have been creating content here on YouTube since I was 23. I've always just created content more so than really talked about myself here. I have talked about myself on other people's podcasts and a little bit on my podcast, which I have one season of Inner Worlds that people really like. If you haven't listened to it yet, it's wherever you get your podcast, Inner Worlds by Leeor Alexandra. I'm almost at 550,000 people in my community and following me, and so I thought that maybe I should kind of like open up more. I was born in California. I moved to Israel when I was about 2, and then we moved back right when I was about 8 years old. I spoke no English. My parents wanted to put me into a Hebrew private school to make mine and my brother's experience easier. This wasn't going to be easy for them. We came to America with $500 in my dad's pocket, family of 5 and a dog. Went and lived with my grandma for a while. Came here for a better life. I wasn't accepted into the Jewish school because I couldn't speak English, which seems ridiculous because everybody there spoke Hebrew basically, but I had to go to public school, and I'm grateful for that because it made me who I am today. I was really lonely. I was really, really lonely for the first couple of years that I moved, 3-4 years, I would say. Spent a lot of time reading. My ever-patient mom sat with me and my brothers one summer and taught us how to read English better than any school could have. And I started to read books. I started to read Harry Potter when I was just learning English, and that's really where I learned my English. So some people say that they hear an accent. It should be long gone, but when you hear things, when you learn a language not being your first language, you say words a little differently than other people, and some people have pointed it out over the years, and I've worked on some of the words that I say wrong, like human being. I always said bean. Human being. Being. I don't know if I say it right now, but I'm trying. Something. I used to say something. Something. I'm constantly in the pursuit of bettering myself, and so a lot of people have kindly pointed those things out, and it stuck with me in a positive way. And then there's a lot of negative things that people have said. I still remember my first ever negative comment, the first one I ever got. It was somebody telling me I should be doing porn instead. And it's so crazy because it's such a small thing, but it stays with you. If you're starting out right now, just know it gets easier with those comments, and it doesn't really mean anything. It means nothing about you. It means everything about the person commenting. Whatever we're commenting online is a reflection of us only. Nothing about the other person. You can quote me on that. I've been practicing the law of attraction for 15 years. I've had doubts over the years. My doubts have been assuaged, and I think that it all goes back to God. Everything is God. Everything is under this scope. I had my awakening when I was 20 or 21. It didn't deepen until I was about, I've been going through this process for a long time, but around 25 is when I woke up. When I woke up to new parts of myself, when I saw so much more of reality that it never contracted again. And I don't think it really will. That's me. Oh, I have 2 brothers, if you don't know by other vlogs. Ty, and the youngest one just changed his name. His name is now Moses. And he changed his name. I think you guys might find this interesting because the name that he was given at birth, the numerology of it is all wrong. The biblical meaning of it is all wrong, and it wasn't actually blessed by a rabbi when he was born, when he had his brit milah. So he changed his name to be better numerologically, thinking that, maybe it'll improve his life by that. And I think it's going to, honestly. I think it's going to really help him. They're my best friends. We're really close in age. I'm super close to my family. Super, super close. My parents are separated. They have been for about 7 or 8 years. They're really good friends, and we're together like once a week when I'm in LA. I'm in Sedona right now. My best friends, so the concept of best friends changes as you get older, and the roles of people in your life change. But my oldest and longest friends, I'm still friends with them. So I've had friendships for over 20 years now. My best friend Sarit, my best friend Natalie, and then I have Saya, who I've been friends with since I was like 12. And then my other best friend, Yuval. We chose each other a little bit later in life. We met when I was 21, 22, 23. We met in like 2014, 7 years ago. So like 22, when I was 22. We were dating cousins, and we both broke up with those cousins eventually, and we kept each other, and we're still best friends until this day. And those women are like my sisters. I have other best friends who deserve honorable mentions, but they don't watch my videos anyway, so love you guys, but I'm moving on. Super close with my grandparents. I have a boyfriend now. You guys, a lot of you who have been around for that journey. I do these ceremonies, these new moon manifestation ceremonies, and these rituals that we do together as a community on Zoom live. Sometimes we do them in person, but less these days. I hope to do them more in the future. And every time I intend for something in one of these ceremonies, it comes into my life. So super early, I think in January of this year, I intended to finally manifest my puppy, and I got Jupiter. He's the best. One of the best things that's ever happened to me. It's so much responsibility, and some days I feel like life would be easier if I wasn't, if I didn't have an anchor. But now I have an anchor, and I will have an anchor for the rest of my life, because God willing, he lives as long as possible. And in that meantime, I will likely have children. So I'm going to be a mommy I'm a mommy now, and I'm going to be a mommy forever. It's not, God willing, I will never not be a mommy. Even when things are difficult, they're worth it. Then back in April, I set the intention to finally meet the love of my life and my soulmate, and I have. And he's everything I could ask for. And relationships are sloppy and messy. Not sloppy is the wrong word. They're messy and they're difficult sometimes, but they're also worth it. It's a lot of responsibility. But also this person takes half of life with you, and things feel lighter. And I want to do everything with him. So I'm very grateful for him. I grew up in the Valley in Los Angeles. I studied at USC after a couple years of community college. I studied communications with an emphasis on broadcast journalism. That's when I started making videos, and I realized how much I loved communicating on camera and how it was really the way that I want to communicate with people. I lived in Amsterdam for 4 months. I lived in Israel for a couple of months for a summer. I lived in West Hollywood for a bit, and now I'm here in Sedona, and I hope to live in many more places. I'm not the type of person who wants to be in one place forever. I do want to experience living all over the world. I'd love to live in Italy. I'd love to try out maybe somewhere in Florida. I'd go back to Amsterdam in a heartbeat. Loved it there. France, all over. Somewhere in Central or South America would be cool. All over the US. I hope to get the opportunity to move around often in my life, and not to, it's nice to be rooted, but it's also really cool to make a home out of different places in the world. Some questions I got, let's see. So Emily asked me, how would you describe the relationship you've built with your community? And I thought that this was such a cool question. Something I would never think about like quantifying or defining, right? But I think that the best way to explain this, and I'm gonna try not to start crying because I'm feeling emotional, and my camera's heating up. The best way to explain the relationship that I built with my community, with you guys, is I created a place for myself a place that I really needed for myself, where I could be myself and be a permission slip for others to be themselves, to get together and to live life differently, and to talk about things that the average person maybe doesn't think about or talk about, and do it in a really loving way. I created a community in which we can love each other and be genuine with one another. And I've tweeted this the other day, one of the best compliments I ever get is people will meet me in person and they'll always say, like, you're exactly what my family says, the same thing. Like, I wonder if your subscribers know that you're exactly the same way in person. And so someone will meet me and they'll be like, you're exactly what I thought you would be. The best compliment I can get, because that was my intention. My intention has always been to be myself. And with that comes, you know, some people won't like that, but ultimately I've been accepted in such a loving way. And so some people talk about parasocial relationships online, and I can see how that can happen, where some people might think that they know me more than they really do. I really, really do feel very connected, and whenever I see the comments, I'm like, oh, it's this person, and I remember them, and I'm wishing well for them. And so for me, these relationships are real. I don't see you as a username. I see you as a person with a life. And when I hear how I've touched your life, or if I've disappointed you in some way, that affects me in a very real way. Amy asked, how do you gather the courage to put yourself out there knowing thousands will see you and judge you and create their own perceptions about you? Do you have tips on how you continue to do this? When I first started doing YouTube, I got so much pushback from people that I knew in real life. And I feel like getting past that and doing it anyways and seeing the end goal made my skin a lot tougher, right? So a lot of fear comes up when you put yourself out there. So you have to do things because you're scared, but there's also always this line of how much vulnerability am I safe to share at where I am right now, right? It's not always the safest to share everything. And so considering that, but yeah, I do things because I'm afraid. So a good example of this is the other night I was with my family and some friends, and we were doing karaoke, but nobody wanted to be the first person to sing. And I didn't want to do karaoke at all. And I have this thing about my voice where I'm really embarrassed of singing in front of people, but I do it anyways, because I'm afraid, literally because of that, because it's been something that's blocked my throat chakra for so long. And so I went up, and I didn't choose a song first or anything, but I just got on the microphone, and even though it's a little embarrassing, I just started singing and talking and just trying to make everybody else more comfortable to do it themselves, because that's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's like, be yourself and give everybody else a permission slip to be themselves. So when you see yourself as a force of good, that makes it a little bit easier, right? Also, I do believe that everybody is you pushed out. So whatever feedback I get from the field is just what's happening on the inside of me being projected out. And so when I see negative things, I always look at like, well, what am I afraid of here? What am I projecting out? Jasnur asked, how did the struggles in your life make you who you are today? Also, what was the most significant event that changed your life completely? Something without which you would have been a completely different person. It's a beautiful question. The struggles in my life made me somebody who can persevere, right? Who can consistently pick myself up and make something beautiful out of what I have. I have struggled with depression and anxiety since I was 12 years old. I struggled with just loneliness, really deep loneliness that was just really pervasive since I was a kid. And it made me into such an independent person, that loneliness, and like a person that never gets bored because I love my own company so much. And now I'm not lonely. I have such a full life, right? I have so many people that love me. But those years of loneliness really shaped me into who I am today. And going through different things, you know, with my family, with struggling with, you know, there's been addiction in my family and almost losing somebody, one of the most important people, if not the most important people in my life. All these things just create this resilience within you and this ability to, like, I've gone through all that, I can get through anything, and I'm going to keep getting through everything. And one of the moments that changed my life forever were honestly my ayahuasca sits, because for a lot of people they're really easy, and for some reason I sat 7 times and each time has been hell for me and so difficult for me. But I was able to get through that, and even though my mental health was kind of a mess for a year and a half after the last ceremony, I pulled myself back up with a lot of support from my loved ones, but I brought myself back down to earth and back to faith and God. And the difficult things in life really shape you, they mold you. We're clay and we're being molded into exactly what we're supposed to be. Another really difficult moments that some might not think is difficult is rejection I faced towards the end of my career as an entertainment news reporter. I was rejected in a really bad way based on something that I had done wrong. I was a kid interviewing for a really crazily coveted job, and I'd done something wrong, and I've carried that shame and guilt for years. I've only come to terms with it very recently, but I failed in that. I failed there, and that failure changed everything for me because it made me realize I don't even want to do what I was doing, and it took me on this completely different trajectory for my life, and I could not be more grateful. I've noticed that for me, the biggest failures of my life have always come right before a completely life-changing and life up-leveling decision. So if you've been betrayed, or if, you know, I've gotten cheated on by somebody I was going to marry in such a bad way, and it was an abusive, physically abusive relationship and mentally abusive and just absolutely horrific, and that once that ended, my life changed. And it's like, once all these things happen, these horrible things, these low places in your life, then it's kind of like a trajectory, and you get blasted off into higher heights. And it's just like that saying, it's always darkest before the dawn, and it really is. So if you're in a low place right now, just know that it's likely coming right before your dawn. I need to go get Jupiter, so I just want to say my final message. I'm taking a little bit of a break, my loves. So I've been creating non-stop without any sort of meaningful break for 6 years now, and not giving myself time to recharge and to see who I've become. Like, I'm always in constant self-reflection. I'm living spirituality every day, but I'm always creating something out of it. And every experience that I have, my mind always goes to, how can I share this with other people? How can I write an email about this? Or how can I make a video about this or tweet about this so that somebody else benefits from it? And it's been a really long time since I've kind of integrated my own experiences and had to check in with myself and seen, well, where am I now? What do I believe in now? How do I go about life now? I haven't had a meaningful break in so long, and I do see a burnout coming if I don't take this break. And I don't want to. I wish I had the energy to continue to make consistent uploads, but without a break, YouTube is different because it's not like television where there's seasons and then we have like a few months off, right? We have to consistently create content in order to stay relevant, and in order for the algorithm to push us, and in order to make money, in order to pay our bills, right? So I haven't had a break like that, and I have to recharge. I have to return to my practice. I have to sit in silence. I have to stop creating and stop making output, and for a little bit just breathe and empty and come back into a neutral place, right? Fill myself up so that I can come back one day soon and fill everybody else up as well. I'm so emotional talking about this because I'm scared, there's no guarantee for what the future holds, but I have a lot of faith too, and I've had so many signs and synchronicities leading me to this break, and it's time for me to surrender into it and to know and to have faith that life is going to continuously get better. I just want life to just get better and better and better, upward trajectory, and that taking a break right now is not going to stop that. It's going to make it better, if anything. And so I really hope that I have you there on the other side. And I don't know how long this break is going to be either. I could be fine in 3 weeks and be ready, or it could take 3 months. It could take more. I don't know. I just wanted to let you know so that you're not worried about me, and so that you're not expecting maybe the energy readings. I just have to tap in with my own energy. I have to come home to myself a little bit so that I can continue to walk the walk and not just talk the talk, right? So that's what I'm doing. And I hope that you continue to watch old videos if you miss me. I've been off Instagram. I might continue that. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on social media or not. I have to listen to my body. I have to listen to my higher self. I have to listen to God and see where this is taking me and what this wants to show me. I'm also finishing up writing my book. I just finished writing it. I'm going in for edits starting in a couple of days. My goal has been to publish before the end of the year, and I hope that that's going to happen. So writing a book it's taken so much creative energy, and writers, they write. They don't necessarily write and do social media and do YouTube and have an email list and do all this other stuff and have a jewelry line and a community of hundreds of thousands of people and do their own customer service and answer their own emails. That's not usually what writers do. And I've been doing that, and I've spread myself really thin. I have to bring all the creative energy now I'm in labor with this book, and it's time to give birth to it. So maybe once that's done and once that's out there, I'm going to feel ready to come back. So we'll see. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me and listening to me share. And if you did, a comment would be really nice. I'll still be reading your comments. For now, I don't know if I'll take a break from that, but I have the app on my phone and I go on all the time and read your comments. I love you and I appreciate you, and thank you for supporting me in so many ways. Not just the channel, but just supporting my heart. Sometimes I do these videos where I just sit here and I talk to you, and it is terrifying, but I'm always held so lovingly that I know it's worth it. And I know that also that it helps other people open up and be vulnerable, and it gives people a permission slip to do the things that they need to do for themselves. And so if I can lead by example in that way, I'll put myself out there happily. I love you. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. And I'll see you very soon, hopefully. Oh, until next time, as always, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye. I love you.